Hi there, it's Michelle from CNC Designs. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in New Zealand. And this month I am participating in a global monthly video hop. So the month of January, the theme for our hop is thank you. So I'll be showing you how to make a cute little thank you card with a fun fold that I've created. And because it's January and January 5th is the start of a brand new mini catalog from Stampin' Up, you're going to see some new products being used. So here is a peek at the catalog. So that's a new mini catalog. It's valid from January 5th until the end of June 2001. And I will be showing you some products, using some products which you can find on page 25 of the catalog, the Dragonfly set. So let's get started. So this is a prototype card I've created, and this is showing using the dragonflies. This image is from the Dragonfly garden set, so I have some really beautiful images here, some dragonflies and some flowers and some lovely sayings, and so there is definitely a thank you saying in there. So we're going to change it up a bit and put thank you on it. So with this card I stamped the images of the dragonflies, and there's a lovely punch in this new set that punches out the dragonflies, so you can punch out large dragonflies. There's no stamped image of the small ones, but you can punch out some of the small dragonflies and just use them there. And if you have a close look, I put a bit of Wink Stella on them to make them shimmer. So for this card, we're going to show you how to make it. Change it up slightly. So the ribbon on the front opens up the front of the card, and when you open it up, it's got a calendar, so for the new year 2021, and the folds back this way, so it can stand up on your table, so you can view it that way. So I don't actually I haven't seen this fold before. I'm kind of not sure what to call it. It's almost sort of an H or a kind of an M fold, but I'll show you. It's quite easy to do. It uses half of a piece of cardstock, so you can get two cards out of one piece. And then I just stamped some of the small dragonflies on the edges there, and one of the sayings from a different stamp set that's coming out, and then you can write your message on the back. So this card is going to a good friend of mine. So I'm going to show you how to recreate that, and let's get started. So the base cardstock, whatever color you want to use for the base, you use half a sheet. Now here in New Zealand we use A4 sheets, and we use metric measurements, so I'll be showing you that, but you can just adjust it to whichever country you're in. So I'm using Mossy Meadow, and the reason I chose Mossy Meadow is I'm going to use some of the designer series paper from the new Dandy Garden 6x6 designer series paper pack. And this pack, I'll show you some of the images, has some beautiful colors, and the colors used in the card, in the images on this designer series paper, there's basic black, blackberry bliss, we've got a bit of bumblebee and some calypso coral, some misty moonlight, and just whisper white background. So I'll show you these. We've got the lovely dragonflies there, and if you haven't already guessed it, the punch will punch out those large dragonflies, and I'll show you that with the card today. And then there's some small dragonflies, and then we've got the lovely blackberry bliss, and the images kind of look like dandelions, you know, when you're a child and you pick those dandelions that have the white fluff on it and blow them away for wishes. And then here's another one with some line art. And then there's some little yellow ones on the back. And again, these are colored in. I think of them more as weeds, but they're quite pretty. And then back of that one. And so you can see the same image there, but the background here, they use Misty Moonlight, and here they've got Whisper White with some shades of gray in there. And then turn it over for another image of Bumblebee. And again, nice colors. They can coordinate with any style that you're doing, whether it's feminine, masculine, or for any different occasion. And then we've got some lines there, and you can see they're not perfectly straight. They go a bit wobbly, so that is actually meant to be that way. And here's another Dragonfly one. And so that's got the line art. I believe it matches up with this. So here's the white on Blackberry Bliss, and that's the Mossy Meadow print on Whisper White. So you can mix and match them quite easily. This one has some really large dragonflies on there. The punch will probably do the small ones. I think these are too big for the punch. And there's some bees in there. So there's another set coming out in the new catalog that uses some bumblebees. And then that could be used for any type of card. And then we have some different line art images. Again, these are not straight lines, so they do go a bit wavy, a bit whimsical. So this looks like the other one you just saw, but smaller. So we've got the big, large, and the small little images there. And then some more. And then again, this one is similar to the one we already had. Yep, I think that might be the same one. So a different background there. Ooh, and I love the Misty Moonlight with the white. And then there's some of those bumblebees. And that. So that's all the images you get in that designer series paper pack called Dandy Garden. So I've chose Mossy Meadow for the background. And then with this card, the background is half a sheet. So in this case, it's 10.5 centimeters. So I cut an A4 piece in half lengthwise. And that's 10.5. And then I scored it here at, where's my notes? I scored it at 7.5 centimeters and 9 centimeters. Then I turned it around and scored again at 7.5 and 9. So that gives you a nice even placement. And then the next thing you need to do is you simply need to fold and burnish where you scored it. And that gives us the fold in the front where they come together. Now it overlaps slightly, which doesn't really matter the way I've made it. And then if you turn it over the other way and then fold back, the second fold goes back the opposite way. And burnish that. So that gives you the fold there, but then you see it kind of bends back slightly, and that will allow it to stand up on your table so you can see the calendar in the center. Now, when you do that, you end up with 4 pieces, sections that are exactly the same side. You have the 2 front pieces and the 2 inside pieces, and that's where I put the designer series paper. So you want 4 pieces, 2 to match the front and 2 to match the inside at 7 centimeters by 10 centimeters. So if you're doing this in another country, just take off like maybe a 1/4 inch of whatever size this is. So for the inside, I've decided to go with the bumblebee paper. And then for the outside, I'm going with that lovely dragonfly paper. Now, if you're using a paper where it matches up, I would suggest you measure the full width. So 7 and 7, that's 14 centimeters. And then cut the middle down so they do match up there. But it doesn't really matter. You're going to have a little gap between it showing the cardstock around the edge. But I like it to match if it is a matching paper. If it's not a matching paper, it doesn't matter, especially if they're not going to be next to each other. Then the centerpiece, again, you just need to make it slightly smaller. I took about a half a centimeter off on the whole edges. So this piece has turned into 10 centimeters by about 11 centimeters across. And you could have the same color throughout, but I've decided to change it up. The other thing you need is you need a mini calendar if you want to make it into a calendar card. So I purchased this online, and so in whatever country you're in, you should be able to find somewhere to purchase that. Or you could print them on your computer and then cut them up and then just glue the top together, or maybe put little holes to clip it together, and a piece to go behind. So again, I went with the same Mossy Meadow behind, and again, it's just measure whatever size calendar you have and then make the piece slightly larger. So this piece for behind is 8 centimeters by 5.5 centimeters. And then whatever you want to decorate the front with. So for here, I stamped the dragonfly image and then colored it in with the pencils, and then punched it out with the dragonfly punch, and then punched a few smaller ones out in colors that match the designer series paper. But this time around, I'm going to show you something slightly different with the designer series paper, and quite often you'll find this with Stampin' Up! Products. It matches the punch. You might also find products that match the dies, so it makes it easier for you to get the images cut out. So for here, I could slide it up and I could just cut the dragonfly out. But if you have a close look, if I do that, this dragonfly there is not lined up properly and it'll get cut off. So, and if I try to do another one, like even that small one, it'll cut things off. So what I suggest you do to save on paper and not cutting any nice dragonflies into pieces is cut around what you want to use. And for my project, I was thinking I was going to sort of match up the colors on the front, the Clips of Coral and the Blackberry Bliss. So I'm going to cut around, saving some of those other dragonflies to be used at a later date. And I'm just going to snip around the Clips of Coral one. Now, you're probably thinking, well, I haven't snipped quite around it, but the reason I did that is first I'm going to get that little guy out and show you. So if you have a bit of paper to hold, you can slide it in and you can punch out some of them, fit perfectly into your punch. So here we go. There's the little dragonfly. So I've got him to use for later. And now I'll just cut around. Let's just think, how do I want to do that? I'll just cut around this part. Save that little piece for later. You never know when you're going to want to use it. And then slide it in. Now, if you don't have enough paper to hold the edge of it, a trick is to use a Post-it note. So I've got these little strip Post-it notes, but you can use any Post-it note and just stick it onto what you want to cut out so it holds it. And then just slip it in using the Post-it note as your extra fingers. And slip it in there and line it up so you have space around everything. It's hard to do on video. Pop it up. So now I've got one of my big ones. And this little guy, I might keep him for later, because you could always just cut around that or pop it out with a circle punch. And now I want one of the Blackberry Bliss ones. So I'm just going to come up around him. Close as I can. And now I'm going to punch that one out. So if I had stamped these, I'd stamp them on Whisper White and I would just color them in however I'd like. If you want to color them with blends, make sure you stamp them with Memento black ink. If you're going to color with pencils, it's good to, you can use any ink, but if you're going to do the watercolor, you should use Stays On so it doesn't run. So there we go, we're getting our Blackberry Bliss Dragonfly for the front. There's that guy. And lots of little ones I can save for later. to save all my little bits because you never know when you're going to use them. So those would be cute. Cut them out and maybe put them in just other little accents around the page. And then I think there was, so we got those and we got some small ones. So I think I might like to grab another small one. So that's where I'm having difficulty coming in, so I might just cut around. And I'll just get one of these little guys there. You can go Dragonfly crazy and just punch out as many as you want. And if you have difficulty holding the punch up, the top of them, if you're not aware, is actually flat. So it can be just lean it right on the table and just push down. Oh, it slid out a bit. So you can just leave it leaning on the table and use the palm of your hand to punch it out. They're so convenient. They're really good and easy for anybody to use. And maybe like a yellow one if I can find one. Ah, there's a yellow one. Mixing up the colors. And so I'm leaving some paper on the edge so I can use that to hold it. Try to hold it. There we go. So just when you're punching smaller things, just be aware of what's down there because you might be looking at that to punch out and miss out and punch something else off the page that you don't mean to do. And there's a little yellow one. Now some people might think that having, you know, these wings only partially on the sides, that it's a waste. But what you can do is you can use those elsewhere to decorate your page. And if you have any partial dragonflies, you can always fill them in with some of those extra pieces. So that's just a tip about dragonfly paper. All right, so let's get making things. So we'll start by putting the front together. So I already showed you how to fold it. Now, the other item I forgot to mention was to tie it. So there's also a new product. It's 100% hemp and it's Mossy Meadow. What's it called? Let's find English. Braided linen trim. So Mossy Meadow braided linen trim. Nice big chunky roll. I've already cut a couple pieces off. Now we've had braided trim in the past, and if you haven't seen it before, you can see how it's braided right there. One nice thing is you can actually pull it apart to make it thicker. So if you, wider rather. So if you want it kind of a wider image, you can just pull it apart gently, and then you can see the actual braiding. So if you can see in there the difference. And then if you decide, no, I don't like that look, you just simply slide it up and it goes back together. All right. So when you're putting your trim on the front or your ribbon, what you need to do is you need to have two pieces and they need to be longer than the full length. So I cut this a bit longer. Let's see, what is that? That's about 21 to 22 centimeters. So two pieces to go the full length, and what you want to do is you want to stick them down first before you forget. My original one, I was trying to get the dragonflies to overlap to hold it shut, and that didn't work very well. So I stuck the ribbon on as an afterthought. So the easiest thing to do is you determine where you want your ribbon to go and put some tape in place. But before I do that, I just thought I better do some stamping because that will help determine where I'm going to put my ribbon for this project. So with the Dragonfly Garden stamp, I'm going to use most of these images here. And I'm going to stamp onto some scrap Whisper White thick cardstock. So this is scrap because there was a boo-boo on one side of the card. So instead of throwing it away, I just turn it over and use the other side. So for this side, I am going to stamp in Mossy Meadow, and I'm going to stamp for a true friend and thank you for your kindness. And let's see how this goes. Now I'm going to cut these out. I'm going to fussy cut them, so I don't need a lot of space around them, so I'm going to literally just pop it wherever I want, so whatever scrap paper you want. If you like, you can use a label punch or a label die if you want to have a specific shape to it, but I just want to do it where I'm going to cut around the edges. So I'm just going to pop that there. And so I'm doing this in Mossy Meadow. See if my plan works. Since I haven't done this before, just got to watch out. See if I can get it done the way I'm thinking in my mind. So these bits, I'm just going to fussy cut around them. I'm going to give them a rough fussy cut to get them out. So sometimes I just like the look of the fussy cutting around things, and it makes it stand out a bit better. Other times I just like to go with dies or labels. Don't know what you prefer. The labels and dies are usually easier, quicker to do, but there's something therapeutic about fussy cutting. Okay, so there's the for a good friend. For a true friend. And this is the thank you part to go with the theme for the month. So below the video I will be putting the names of the other participants as well as links to their videos, so please go have a look below and click on others, the links to the other videos, and have a good look at all the other thank you cards and projects being made this month. And also you should, if you want to see more in the future, you should subscribe. So, nearly done here. And then I might put this on another color of scrap card to make it stand out even more. Okay, so that's my sentiment for the front. The reason I want it to quickly do that is so I can determine where how I'm going to put it together. So, might have that one there, this guy there. So instead of recreating exactly what I had before, I'm kind of reimagining it, basically. So I'm thinking I'll have that there and maybe that there. And then have the cord, I don't know if you can see that, and then have the cord going across the front. So I might put the cord a bit higher up, and then put the thank you. Just looking at my dragonflies, I don't want to cover up too many of them. I might pop that there. Okay. Now, to make it stand out more, because see how busy the paper is, and yes, the words are there, but they get a little bit lost. I am going to put this on some scrap yellow. I think that'll help it. Or maybe I should go on the scrap green. Let me think about this. Okay, I'm going to do it on the bumblebee, just to make it stand out a bit. And to do that, which if you haven't tried this technique before, you glue it down. So just find a little scrap, and after you fussy cut your first part, you just glue down onto a bit of scrap what you want to cut out. So glue it down, and then you fussy cut again. But this time you now know where the edges are because you've glued it onto your scrap paper. So glue that down nicely. So I've glued that onto my scrap background and contrasting color. And now I'm going to fussy cut this one just outside where I already fussy cut. So it's just going to give it that little extra layer of color. And I will just pause the video and cut this out so you don't have to watch me fussy cut. Okay, so there we go. So just glued it onto some contrasting card and fussy cut it out, and that'll just give us a bit of a boost. Makes it show up better, especially since the background is so fussy. So I think I'm going to do the ribbon now. And the best thing to use when you're sticking down ribbon or twine is tape, the double-sided tape, because it doesn't stick very well with liquid glue, as well as especially if you're using a ribbon that's see-through, it can change the color of the ribbon. So I'm just going to stick a piece of tape roughly where I want my ribbon to be starting on either side, and then just give that a good rub and peel it off. And now just stick one piece of the tape of the ribbon. I'm going to spread this out because one, it'll make it thinner under the designer series paper, but also it gives more of the twine to be taped down and makes it more secure. So spread that out a bit. Just pop it down nice and firm where the tape is. And do the same to the other side. And you want them to roughly be in about the same position. So I just kind of use this as a guide. I'm using my grid paper as a guide, and then that line there is about where the twine or ribbon has started. So they're both starting roughly in the same spot. Then you can stick down your designer series paper, and you could use your tape for that if you wish. And I'm just putting tape on all four sides to make it nice and secure, especially where I put my twine. And I'm going to do the tab method. So if you've seen other videos of mine, you know that when I use my double-sided tape, I make tabs. So it makes it easier for placement, and if there's any boo-boos, you can easily pull it up and not ruin what you're sticking it down onto. So just get those little tabs out, and then place it down, trying to get an even amount of color around the edges. And then what you can do is you can press down in the part where you've already pulled up the tape. And then just adjust it to where you want it to be. Once you're happy with it, then you just peel the rest of the tape up. Because if you're not happy with it, you've only got a couple points of contact and you'll be able to pull it up easily. All right. Okay, now that you've got both sides down and you've got your cord so you can tie it, then you can place everything. So I might actually tie it in place, because that way I have a better idea of where I want my sentiments and my dragonflies to sit, so they're not in the way of the cord. So I'll just tie that there temporarily. Not the best tie. And then stick everything down. I'm going to use dimensionals to pop it up. Let's see, mini dimensionals might be the better option. So this one, I think I can pop it. Might just put it right there. And just a couple dimensionals on there to hold it in place. So that's my thank you for your kindness. And then a few dimensionals on this part here. Now, actually, I won't pop that down yet because I want to see where I'm going to put my dragonfly. Now, I'm going to give my dragonflies a little bit of a curve with my bone folder just to give them some height. So I'm just going to stick down the center parts of them. So just a little bit of a gentle curve. You can do this with the cardstock as well as the designer series paper. And so I just want to stick them down. Now I'll put these flat because I've curved up the wings on them. And I'm just going to kind of see where I want to place them. I might place that one there, and then maybe could have them go in different directions. I kind of like them going towards each other, so maybe that one up a bit higher. And then if I do that, I'll have room to put this one, let's say right to there. So having the cardstock, as you can see, having the contrasting cardstock behind the words makes it stand out a bit. So now I will just glue those. I probably should have done the inside first, but oh well. So we'll glue just the body down. And here we're just going to put some glue on the body and pop that in place. So that's the outside of the card. Now I just realized probably should have done my inside first because it might flatten it, but that's okay. We'll sort it out. So the inside, we have that piece there to go in the center, and then the two pieces for the sides. Now I want to stamp on these before I put them down, and then this center part. Now to get the year, I'm going to die cut the numbers of the year using the Playful Alphabet dies. So it's got the perfect sizes in here to make the year. And since you're not going to see behind the calendar, I'm going to use this and just die cut the numbers right out of that section. I'll be right back. Okay, so as you can see, I just die cut the numbers 2021 out of that background. Okay, so now I will just stick this on here. Just a bit of glue. Not too heavy because the paper is rather thin. You could use a bit of tape on the back if you want. And just pop that into the center of that piece. And then I will glue this one down in the center. I could use tape. I just find for videos it's quicker just to glue it down. So then just pop that in the center there. And then depending on where you want your numbers to go, I find putting the numbers down first is better because then I'll know where to put my calendar. And I think that contrasts really nicely, the mossy meadow on top of the bumblebee. So that just gives me an idea of where I can put my numbers. So if If I put the two outer numbers, then I can fill in the central ones. So I'll just glue those down, just a little bit of glue to glue the year in place. Hopefully it'll be a much better year for everybody, the whole world. I don't think anybody will ever forget 2020. But hopefully you're having a good new year. And lots of crafting in my future. I hope you will have a lot as well. So if you like this project or these products, you can contact your demonstrator to order. They're available as of January 5th. If you don't have a demonstrator, you can go online to the Stampin' Up website to look one up. If you live in New Zealand and don't have a demonstrator and want to order, feel free to contact me. I'm right here, michellekritchley.stampinup.net, and I'd be happy to be your demonstrator. You can contact me directly through there or just order and have things shipped to you if you'd like. And my blog, which is papercraftaddiction.blogspot.co.nz, I will have more details about this project and links to the other videos. But I'll also put all the products I use listed underneath this video, so you can just go there and have a look. Now these two pieces I want to stamp on. Oh, I'll put my calendar on too, before I forget. Let's see, you're not going to see that center part, so I don't really need to, I can use it to cut it out. So there, so that's the inside. So these two pieces I want to stamp on, and I'll just get some scrap paper here. I'll move that out of the way for a second. So I'm going to stamp the flowers, and I also want to have these words. Now the words I'm going to pop up like I did before, so I'm going to stamp the words this time using Bumblebee. And I will do the same as I did for the front, fussy cut them out onto some Mossy Meadow background. So let me get my scrap paper in here and just go ahead. I like that sentiment. Make good things grow all year long. Really good sentiment. It goes well with this set. Let's stamp that in Bumblebee. And I will cut that out and stick it on top of some Mossy Meadow cardstock like I did for the front, similar. But this I want to stamp it in the Mossy Meadow. Now the reason I stamp that first is I need to figure out where placement. So I'm going to place that on one side. But the other side, I'm going to pop this. So this is a nice set because you could stamp this in black and then color everything in, or you can just go with a monocolor theme and just go with one color or all around. So this one here, I want to stamp it up a bit high. And the other one, I'm going to stamp it a bit lower so I can have the words show up. So look at that. Such nice line art. That comes out really nice. And so here, just trying to eyeball about where the words will be and stamp this a bit lower. So it's not totally matchy-matchy. It just looks so nice. And I could even stamp a bit more if I wanted more flowers to show up. And then this little stamp is so cute. It's like little dragonflies skirting around, flittering here and there. So I'm going to go ahead and stamp that there. like that. Just wondering about putting some more flowers down the bottom. I might try that. Hopefully it works. That's the thing with creating on camera. You don't always know it's going to work. So I'm just going to ink up the top part of the stamp. I'm just going to see if I can add some more flowers down here now that I know where my dragonflies are. There you go. How's that look? That's quite nice. Just wondering about having a little bit over here just so it looks like it's a full meadow. There we go. So it's got flowers all the way at the bottom and a few little dragonflies, so that's one side. Now I won't stamp any more on here until I've got my words cut out, so I'll do that now. Okay, so I did similar to the front, but contrasting, and that is going to pop up here. So I am thinking might put some little dragonflies on there and see how that looks before I put any more flowers. So we'll get the Mossy Meadow out again. So if you haven't given a try of stamping on designer series paper, as you can see, it's really kind of a fun thing to do. You can really add to some of these plain backgrounds. You might think, oh, that's a bit busy or plain and not really me. But if you stamp on it, it just completely changes it. So I might just put these going a bit at an angle. And then maybe just a bit of a stamping off. Not sure I like that stamping off. That's okay. I might do... No, I think I'll leave it. Less is more. Okay, so there we go. So those images are going to be stuck onto the sides. And I'll just use a bit of glue for video purposes to make it quick. That in there again, trying to have a nice even edge. Now that's why I said I shouldn't have done the front first, because I've got that dragonfly I'm kind of pushing on at the moment. If I push it over this way, then I can press it down from the front. There we go. And then this side here. In. One thing though, if you do the inside first before the outside, make sure you don't put it together upside down. I'm not saying I've done that, ha ha ha, but it is possible to get it turned around, and then when you do the inside, you're doing it the wrong way around. Okay, so that's the outside. Now another little, oh, haven't popped my words up. Another little thing I forgot to mention is stamping on your calendar. That's always kind of a nice thing to do. So if you haven't done it before, and I should have done it before I stuck the calendar down. I always seem to do this to myself, but that's okay, because it shows you what not to do, and hopefully you're learning from my mistakes. That's what I'm here for. So you can watch and learn and then not do the same silly mistakes I do. So just a few dimensionals on the back of those words. Pop it up. There you go. That fits in there nicely. Okay. So stamping on the calendar is quite nice, and you need scrap paper because you just want just the hint of the image. So you don't want it full strength. And because I've got different colors in here, I've got the Bumblebee and the Mossy Meadow. I'm going to use both stamp sets, both inks, colored inks. And I'm going to have to make sure that I've got my cleaning pad ready because I don't want to accidentally put the wrong color in. So I'll get my chamois at the ready, my well-used chamois, and we're going to do some stamping. So I'll start out with the theme of the dragonflies. So each day, each month, as they pull off a calendar sheet, they'll see a different image. So there's the dragonflies there, and I'll just stamp a few here, and then I'll just stamp again. So we get different depths of the dragonflies. So I stamped it off because I don't want it to be too dark. And then I might just flip a few pages down and do a few more. So stamp off. I might stamp off twice here and just pop it right in the center. And see, it just gives it a nice light. And now I'm going to change it up a bit and do some yellow ones. So I've got the Bumblebee ink now. And I'm just going to, again, stamp off so it's not too strong. That's actually rather light. Almost too light. And then I might pop down maybe in the very bottom one. And just a couple steps, give you some images there. I'll show you a close-up in a minute. And then I think I will bring in the actual dragonflies and pop some of those in. Let me just change my blocks up a bit. So there's the dragonfly, one of them. And the other dragonfly. So I'm going to do a couple of those as well. Again, it's too dark, so I'm stamping off. See how dark that is? Okay. I'm just testing to see how it looks. So now, it doesn't matter if you don't get the whole thing on there. Just a bit of a touch of a dragonfly is sufficient. And then I think I'll try the other one in the Mossy Meadow. Again, give it a stamping off. And we'll just stamp him going the other direction. It's really lovely images. I just love the stamp set. And then I think we might try that one in yellow. And we'll just clean it off a bit. And just... there, that's so pretty in yellow. And what else have we got? Just trying to find the months that we don't have things. So I might do the other one, change it up and do that one in green. So this time I'm going to make him come down that way. And then you can just go and change them up a bit. Now just be aware, the closer you get to the bottom, like I got a little ink there, just be aware of what's beneath the calendar. That's why you should stamp your calendar first. And now I'm going to change it up even further and put some of the flowers in those pages. So we got dragonfly, flower, dragonfly. Put some flowers here, and then to protect it, I'm just going to pop that there. Clean that up. I'm going to go with my Bumblebee, stamp off, and then just do maybe a little stamping on there. can just faintly see it. I'll be showing you this in a minute. Just have a better look at it. And now I will do a bit in green. And just either side of the calendar. And do we have any months left? Let's see. I got October and November. So do a bit of green in October. Maybe we should do yellow. Yellow makes more sense for October. Halloweeny month. Nearly forgot to stamp off. So if I don't stamp off, you're not going to be able to see any of the writing. Okay. And then I got 1 month left, so I might as well finish off, I think, with a dragonfly. Stamp it off. And we'll pop one coming that way. And then I will do the other dragonfly coming down the other direction. There you go. All right. So hopefully this wasn't too long of a video for you. I think we're almost finished. Bring everything back down. And then remember we had those little guys that we had I punched out for you earlier. So we're just, I think I will put, maybe pop one. I might pop one down to hide my little oopsie down at the bottom. So I'm just using my fingers to manipulate it, to give it a bit of dimension to it. And then because I'm sticking it down there, I will just pop a little bit of glue again along the body of it. And I will just stick them over that. So that's, when you have little boo-boos like I did, can't see, but that's where I tried to stamp off and it didn't come very well, so that way I can put a little one there. And then the other one I might put him on the actual calendar. Yep. Again, I'm just kind of manipulating the wings a bit. A little bit of glue there. And then I'm just going to have him flying into the date. Okay. And then I've got my little guy here, which I might pop down on the front. So there's the inside. So make good things grow all year long. And you can do it with any kind of stamp on any designer series paper you want. And the outside tie off. Sometimes it's difficult to tie a bow on the front, so you might want to come up with a different way to adhere it, but I quite liked the look of the bow. And then this little guy, I think, I'm just thinking where to pop. Might put it on that side because that side's been empty at the bottom. Put it and just go in a different direction. There you go. All right, so there's your thank you card. So for a true friend, thank you for your kindness. And then when you open it up, you can stand it up. And I'll show you the original one that I pad. So one thing that I didn't do, I might add to it, is a bit of Wink Stella. So that's the original one that you can tie and open up. And then this one, you can stand it up. And I just love adding Wink Stella to everything. If you haven't tried it before, it just gives a little bit of shimmer and shine. And you just, once you prime it up and you have a little bit coming out, you can see it coming out in this, the stem of the pen. Just a little bit back and forth where you want it to go. And what it does is it adds a bit of a shimmer and shine to things. I'm not there, you can see it shining there. And I did that on the solid cardstock dragonflies on the other card. So just add that because dragonflies have a nice little shimmer to their wings, don't they? And that might add some to the inside ones as well. So it's just painting. You don't have to give it a lot of pressure, just paint over it. And see, it's shimmering now. So it just adds that little bit of shimmer. So thank you for watching. Please click like if you enjoyed that video, and make sure you subscribe to see future ones. And next month I'll be back with another video blog hop, but I will have other videos in the meantime. So if you subscribe, you'll be notified when those are available. If you like this set, as I said, it's one of our brand new sets coming out in the new new Mini Catalogue, starting on January 5th, and all these beautiful designer series paper are part of it. The ribbon is part of it, and the stamp set is called Dragonfly Garden. So thanks for watching, and you have a lovely day, and I hope you have a fabulous 2021. Thanks so much. Bye-bye.